Hey. Hey, beautiful souls. How you doing? It's Gina here, Too Much Woman. I am coming to you on Good Friday. It's Good Friday. If you are celebrating, it's not quite celebrate. If you're observing Good Friday or Passover, I hope that you're enjoying this celebration or observance of it. I wanted to come on because I posted something yesterday in my stories on Instagram, and I was flooded this morning when I woke up with DMs. And I sometimes think about, do I want to repost what I said there over here? And it's like, then I have to do what I do here over there. But the reason I'm going to do it today, I'm going to share what I said on Instagram last night, is because I woke up today and I thought, today's the perfect day, Good Friday, Passover, to talk about this subject. So first of all, let me show you my nails. I did my nails. It's my one treat is to actually go and get my nails done about every 6 weeks. And so this is the first time in like 4 years I did my nails. Don't look too close. But what does this have to do with anything? Well, yesterday, that was all I did, was my nails. That's pretty much all I accomplished yesterday. A lot of peeing. I got some food in me, and my nails. And the day before, I was on fire. I was uber productive, creating lots of content, and I was on fire. And today, I'm feeling really powerful again. And so why do I share this with you? Well, what I talked about on Instagram is that usually when you see me on here or on social media, I'm in what I call my flow state. So I usually share or I show up when I'm in flow. And flow for me is kind of like, I imagine, it's kind of like surfing. I've never been surfing before, but it's kind of like surfing where you're like on top of the wave. And when I'm on top of the wave, I'm feeling powerful, confident, creative, excited, inspired. I'm usually generating content. And those are the days that I want to get on and I want to talk to you, or I create videos, or I write posts. And that's when I'm in flow. However, that's not all of my days. And I realize the days that I'm in what I call my ebb, which is when I'm coming back and I'm gathering back my energy into myself, I don't usually post on those days, or I don't usually show up on a Facebook Live on those days, because it's purposeful. And I use that time purposefully to come back to myself and regroup myself. The problem is that on social media, I often present in my flow state and not in my ebb, because that's what feels good to me. But what it may appear like to you is that I'm always in my flow state. Now, I want to be very careful about the language that I'm using. I'm not talking about good days and bad days. This is very important. I don't call them good days and bad days. That just doesn't even resonate with me whatsoever. I don't call them happy days and sad days. I don't call them on days and off days. It's not. It's ebb and flow. And I say that purposefully because both of them are so intrinsically necessary, beautiful, and a gift to me that I don't see one as better or worse than the other. Sometimes I'm flowing, sometimes I'm ebbing. Just like the waves, right? Ebb and flow. So they're both necessary. So there's no judgment around where I'm at, first of all. But yesterday I was in a very ebb space. So I wasn't on social media. I wasn't visible on social media. And like I said, I barely got out of bed. I just basically did my nails. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to say that I ebb and flow, just as you ebb and flow, just like the ocean ebbs and flows, and this is normal. And we often talk about this as feelings or emotions, and we have like good days and bad days, but I really do look at it as ebbing and flowing. And what I really wanted to say about that, what I said on Instagram, and the purpose of me sharing this here is, I wanted to be very intentional with showing both sides of what I do, of how I show up. But also to recognize that oftentimes we feel, because productivity is glorified and showing up is glorified and doing things are glorified, that we feel that we have to push through the ebb state to get to the flow state, right? So when I'm feeling like my energy is really low, that's how I know I'm in an ebb state. Like I just don't have the energy, the capacity, everything just feels harder. Like working feels harder, showing up feels harder, smiling feels harder. When I'm in that state, often what we're told, the messaging is push through, be resilient, just show up. But what I know to be true for me, and I always speak from the I message because I want you to check in and see if it's true for you. I'm not selling you anything. God knows I am not selling you anything. You got to check in for you. But what I know to be true for me is that when I push through and I try to intentionally get to that flow state, that it takes me double the effort and I'm exhausted. And what I know to be true for me is that, like, for example, I have a deadline. I have a course I'm putting out next week and I have a deadline, a hard and fast deadline. So yesterday wasn't a great time for me to be in an ebb state. But I know I surrender to it because I know if I push through, it takes double the effort. Okay, so this is what I was talking about yesterday on Instagram, and I woke up to like a million DMs. So I thought it was relevant to share here. However, there's a however. Hello, everybody. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Sharon. Today is an ebb for you. Let me know if you're in an ebb or a flow state today. So flow, for those of you just joining, it's kind of like riding a wave. Flow state is when you have lots of energy and you're feeling creative and inspired, and maybe you want to cook something, maybe you want to clean out a closet, maybe you're feeling like doing something productive, creative that requires energy. And an ebb state is when you're in the receiving, right? So the masculine and the feminine. I just like the words ebb and flow. They resonate with me because I love the water and I love the ocean. So hi, Sharon. Sharon loves that. Hi, Camelia. Oh, I love that. Camelia. Hi, Kathy. Happy Easter. Hi, Kylie-Ann. Okay. Hi, Greta. Hey, beautiful. Hey, Andre. So yesterday I was in an ebb state, and I realized that I don't usually show up on social media on those days because I intentionally need to preserve my energy. So I wanted to share that this is very true for me. I call them ebb and flow states. And the more I honor those states, the quicker I can move through them. And it's not to say that one's better than the other. Ideally, I don't want to always be in flow state. Gosh, then I'm burnt out and I'm exhausted. One isn't preferable over the other, but I do ebb and flow. So first and foremost, I'm human. Let's just break it down. I'm human. I am not a superwoman. I actually feel really off when people say that stuff to me, because if I'm glorified in that way, then I'm not reachable and I'm not attainable, and what I'm doing is out of reach for you. So I never want to be that. Okay, so I ebb and flow, first and foremost. Number two, so today is Good Friday for those of you who observe or Passover, and I was really thinking about the energy of ebb and flow and how perfect it is to discuss it, especially during these times that we are experiencing now and what we're all going through. And I want to pose a question to you, because for those of you who are feeling heavy, I work a lot in energy. I don't know what other language to use, but for those who are feeling heavy, when I'm feeling heavy, what I know to be true is that I'm usually stuck somewhere. I'm holding on to something. I'm shouldering or shoulding, right? Something. And so what I'm often asking myself, the question that I ask myself is, what needs to be released? What needs to die, if you will, be crucified? What needs to be let go? What decision am I not making? What decision am I not making? Because when we're holding on to that, it can feel very, very heavy. So I know a lot of you who have written to me or you comment to me, you say that you're kind of in this space where you're just unsure what your direction is now, and so many things have changed. And so I like to, when I'm stuck in that energy, I like to ask myself, what needs to be released? What needs to die? And so it's so perfect with this Easter weekend, because this cocooning that we're all doing really is a perfect opportunity, literally and metaphorically. We are cocooning ourselves, and it's an opportunity to release what no longer serves us, so that something else can be resurrected and birthed through us. And so if there is, what I'm going to invite you to do, either now, maybe you're going to get an intuitive hit, or maybe before bed, or maybe after this, you want to sit in just some quiet meditation and ask yourself, what is the decision that I'm not making? Because here's what I know to be true. The universe, God, never gives us an opportunity to recalibrate or an opportunity to make a shift without presenting to us, offering us the next right thing to lean into. So maybe that's a book. Maybe that's a course right now. Maybe that's your garden calling to you. Maybe it's your closet calling to you. I don't know what it is, but there is something, maybe it's something unfinished, something that you have parked and have intended to do. But there's something in front of you, right in front of you, I would offer, that is the next right thing for you to lean into. And you're just not making the decision. So here's the thing. A lot of times when I have this conversation with people offline or I'm coaching, people are always looking, and we have this tendency because we're trained to look at other people. It's like everyone's writing this exam and we're looking at one another saying, well, what did you put for this answer? What are you putting for this answer, right? Without realizing we all have a different exam. Like it's different for everyone. So your exam questions and answers are going to be different from my exam question and answer. So I can't fill in that blank for you. But what I believe to be true, because it's true for me and for my clients, is that when we're really feeling heavy, it's because there's a decision that we're not making. And we're overthinking it and we're overcomplicating it, and we're stuck in analysis paralysis and we're spinning wheels. And that spinning of the wheels, just think of that spinning of the wheels is exhausting. It's like a metaphorical mental spin class and you can't get the frick off the bike, right? So I want to invite you to call in the question and just ask yourself, your higher self, what is the decision that I'm not making? And allow yourself to be surprised by the answer. I always like to invite myself to kind of go, like be surprised by the answer. Now, what I mean by that is just be open to what it might be. You might get intuitive hit to read a book. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. I'll give you my answer to my exam question. It's not going to be yours. It's not going to be yours because we all have a different exam. But here's what happened to me, okay? There's been a book that I bought. It came into my awareness like 4 years ago. And then just, every couple months it showed up just somehow on my feed, or someone was reading it, or I was at the airport and I saw it, like just weird. It just keeps showing up. And we know that these are intuitive hits, but we don't always listen to them. So I eventually bought the book. I think I bought the book like last fall. And I put the book by my bed and I maybe read the first couple of pages, but I was immersed in something and I didn't finish it. And just last night I was in my ebb state. And like I said, I barely got out of bed except to do my nails. If you're just joining, I just did my nails. Is that pretty? And I just got a hit to reach for that book. Now, I can't, I'm in my bedroom right now. I have a little nook. But beside my bed, I have like 15 books, 20 books all lined up. I read multiple books at the same time. I'm weird like that. But this one book was there and I just got a hit to pick up that book. So I picked up that book last night after I was on Instagram. I opened that book and I read until 4 o'clock this morning. It was exactly what I needed. Exactly what I needed. And I read until 4 in the morning just because I had so much energy. I had like a burst of energy. This is me moving into flow from my ebb state, moving into flow. The cue is you have a burst of energy. And I just felt compelled to read. And so I read until 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I fell asleep. Then I got up again today and I did some more reading. And it was exactly what I needed. So let me go back and retrace my steps one more time. And then I'm going to look at if you have questions or if you have comments. First of all, it's normal to ebb and flow. It's not bad or good. Let's get rid of that language because that language really makes it pressure filled. Ebb and flow. What's wrong with ebbing? The ocean freaking does it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with an ebb and a flow. It's the give and receive. So yesterday I was in an ebb state. It's normal. I don't usually show up on social media because what am I going to do? Just sit here and be like, you can watch me painting my nails, but it's not fun to watch. So I don't show up in that space, but I do go there. Everybody does. It's totally normal. My mentors go there and they are like, and they go into the ebb and flow state. So it's totally normal, number one. Number two, if you're feeling heavy, I want you to ask yourself, not ask yourself, no, but ask yourself. Just even putting hand on heart, I talk about this all the time, but putting hand on heart does what? It draws your awareness to your heart, right? To your heart chakra. Okay, you can even do it to your solar plexus or your sacral chakra, whatever you feel most comfortable with, but not here. Put your hands where you want the answer to come from and ask yourself, what is the decision that I'm not making? And it could be a little thing. It could just be a very little thing. Let the answer surprise you. Okay. Ask yourself, what is the choice that I'm not making? And usually we need to release something. We need to release a belief or a have to or a must so that we can resurrect something in ourselves. And the language is just so intentional because that resurrection is usually giving me a burst of energy. So for me, last night when I asked myself, what do I need? What decision am I not making? I needed something that was outside of just creating content to inspire and fuel me. So I was not making a decision about how I was going to nourish myself. So I picked up the book because I got a hit. I read the book. It was exactly, like I'm talking exactly what I needed to read. Shift, energy burst. And I woke up this morning in a different place. Okay, so be open to those intuitive hits. Trust them. So next week, if you're watching, I've been talking about this. Next week, starting Monday, in my group Spiritual G-Spot, I'm going to be talking about self-trust. Why am I talking about self-trust? What does self-trust have to do with anything? It's everything. It really, not to be dramatic, well, kind of dramatic. I am dramatic. It's who I am. I'm too dramatic. It's who I am. But it is dramatic because it is important. And self-trust is like the cornerstone. It's the bedrock of all your decisions, of your relationships with other people, because it's a mirror of your relationship with yourself. So just self-trust is the bedrock, y'all. And I've been working on this for so long. So next week, I'm going to be in my group Spiritual G-Spot. I'll be showing up every single day. I'm going to post the times. I'm just trying to decide because I'm not a morning person, y'all. I'm going to post the time, and every single day I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live just in my group, not here. And it's going to be around the theme of self-trust. And why did I bring that up? Oh yeah, so I brought that up because I want you to understand that particularly during this time when we're feeling really heavy, we are stuck, we are blocked because we are getting intuitive messages all the time. We're just not trusting them. And we can't act on anything that we don't trust because then we'll do it for a day and then we're not going to stick with it. Everyone has their own exam. Everyone has their own exam. So my exam test answers are not going to be the right ones for you. So you can't look at mine. So this was huge for me. This was huge for me because what I still catch myself doing is I look to other people and then say, what are they doing? Maybe I should try that. Well, you can get inspiration from other people. You can get ideas from other people, but then you got to go back and check in and trust that you know what's best for you. So I got really stuck for a lot of years. And I still do because it's a habit of looking at other people and saying, what are they doing? Maybe that's what I should, okay, let me try that and do that. But you got to check in with yourself. Okay. Sarah, I'm so looking forward to that. Yay, me too. I just reached for When Things Fall Apart. That's on my bedstand. I've probably read it like 5 times. And I don't read books. Let me say this. I don't usually read books cover to cover. Like I like pick them up and I read a little bit and then I put them down and then maybe I just get enough and then I pick up another book. So, but that book I've read many times in pieces. Love that book, When Things Fall Apart. How do we join your group? The button's right at the top of this page. There should be a button that says join group. It's called Spiritual G-Spot. So come and join me. Sharon, I know what I need, but it goes against everything that we're being asked to do, missing my family, and it's so hard. It's out of, I don't know what the context of that is, Sharon, what we're being asked to do. Yeah, and we can do hard things. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we can't do right now. However, just like water, if you've ever watched, water, it hits a boulder and what does it do? It finds like a way over, under, it will find a way. It's persistent, right? So we need to be like water. So if there is something that you're feeling called to do, I call that divine desire, right? It's divine. All desire is divine. All desire is divine. I don't care if it's a pair of shoes. I don't care if it's a new lipstick. I don't care if it's a vacation to Hawaii. All desire is divine because it's calling you to something, to a feeling, to a something. So there's no judgment. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're desiring, there's a reason. So if you're feeling a desire to do something, and maybe you can't do it because we're supposed to be in quarantine. I don't know if that's what you're suggesting. Then find a way up, over, around, through. It's calling you to find a way. Love the hand on heart, says Diane. Yeah, I spend a lot of time doing this. I do it so unconsciously. Like sometimes I'll be at a store and God only knows what that looks like, but I'm always hand on heart because I know I get stuck here. I get stuck in analysis paralysis. I get stuck in overthinking it. And why do I do that? I'll tell you why I do that, since you asked. Funny that you asked. Because I was told my whole life I'm too emotional. I'm too sensitive. And so I learned to shut this down and go to my head, think logically, make pros and cons lists. Like that's the logical, rational thing to do. You're too sensitive, Gina. Smarten up. So now to counteract that, to not even balance, but yeah, to counteract that, I put hand on heart so that it brings my attention back to heart. This is so relevant to how my day's been going, says Sheila. Lots of heaviness and releasing. Yeah, and you know what? Can we not demonize it? Oh my God, heaviness and releasing. Like, thank God. If things didn't feel heavy, guess what? We wouldn't know to release them. Like, thank you for the heaviness. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for this heavy feeling. Because without the heavy feeling, I wouldn't know there's anything to release. So it invites you to ask the question. Let's go back to the question. What decision are you not making? What needs to be released so that you can move into flow, to rebirth? So let's not that you did. I'm just saying I hear a lot of languaging around, oh my God, it's so hard. This is difficult. And yay, let's switch that and celebrate the heavy. Let's celebrate the challenge. Let's celebrate this space that we're in right now, because it is giving us direction. Like the water, right? It's given us direction to say, find a new way, find another way. The old way is not sustainable anymore. Just like the old way of doing business, education, politics, economy, it's not going to work right now. We can't send our kids to school. We can't make money the way we used to. We can't do anything the way we can't socialize the way we used to. So what are we all doing? We're getting very creative. Many people are getting very creative about going over, under, through, around. And so it's inspiring growth and expansion. So thank you. Oh my, yes, feeling very heavy, says Mandy. Greta, oh, that's good. I love that you're so personal in sharing and ironically human and realizing you still have personal strength in it. Yeah. And you know what I'll say? Is it Chanis? Okay. Am I saying that right? I'm going to be very honest. This page has existed for 8 or 9 years, and I've been a speaker for 26 years. In March, it was 26 years, and I was not always like this. I used to show up in perfection because I was told I was too much this, too much that, too much this, too much that. So I kept carving myself, like all the extra pieces of myself. I kept carving them off so that I could morph into the perfect little ball that I thought everybody said they wanted. That's what you wanted, right? And then I was this perfect little ball, and then I'm unrelatable. And everyone's like, oh, you're a perfect little ball. So a lot of people were shocked that I wasn't happy. Like, surprise! I was actually really miserable over there. So thank you for seeing that and affirming. But I will say this. Do I want to say this? Okay, I'll just say it because it came up. I'm very careful, and this is for any of you. Okay, I'm going to say this anyway. I'm going to say it. This is for any of you who show up on social media. Maybe you have your own groups, or maybe you lead something, or when you lead in any capacity. I don't show up when I'm in the down ebb, like the underbelly of it. I don't speak from that space. Like, I'm also a speaker coach. So I talk to people. If you're in that space, like that deep ebb space, that's not a place to tell your story. That's not a place to show up on Facebook. Is my opinion. Okay. That's not a place to show up anywhere. Like, be in that process And then when you're coming up out of the other side and you have perspective and you can look back and you can speak to it with a little bit of perspective and space, that's when you tell your story. That's when you show up on social media. So there's that fine line between being vulnerable and like opening up the cocoon and letting everybody see like your guts spill out. I personally believe there's a line. And I'm always very cautious about that because I never want to be like in the mess of the cocoon, like, and show up from that place. Because I don't think I can talk about it after when I'm out of it. But when I'm in the crap of it, it's a really odd, like, what am I doing sharing from that space? I need to be in process. I need to be present. And I can't be present with you and show up for you when I'm like in the crap as a speaker. So that's just, I don't know. Some people disagree with that, but that's my truth. Hi, Alexia. I want to flow, but lockdown is somewhat hindering the wave, says Sarah Kelly. I think I spoke to this, but I'll say it again. I understand that you want to flow, and it feels, I acknowledge that it feels as though the lockdown, and maybe it is, it's hindering how you originally intended to ride the wave, right? Like, this was not our plan. This was not my plan. I was supposed to be away like this week. I'm supposed to be in Argentina next week. Like, this was not my plan either. So it feels like, yo, I had some momentum going here. I was on a wave. I'm supposed to be on tour. This was not part of my plan. Like, hello, you screwed this up for me. And, okay, that resistance, I felt that for about 2 weeks, that resistance. Like, oh my God, I got to cancel this flight. I've got to cancel this trip. I've got to cancel my plans. Okay. So that's like being under the wave, right? Like the wave, like taking you under. And then I had to get to a place where I'm recognizing that life is for me. Life is for me. And so if I am the water and I want to flow, I've really got to look at what are now my different options for getting back into flow. So yeah, maybe it wasn't down this path of the river that I thought I was taking, because now there's a big boulder blocking me. I need to figure out a way to get around the bolt. Might take a little longer, maybe because I got to figure it out. Maybe it's going to look a little different, but I'm still going to move forward because my desire tells me that this is what I need to do. So I'm still going to find a way. Does that help a little bit? Let me see what the rest of you are saying. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for sharing. Myra. Always be in gratitude, says Kathy. Yes. Jamie, I have low self-esteem. Any advice on how to make it better? Yeah, join my group. Join my group, Spiritual G-Spot, because next week we're going to be talking about self-trust. Self-trust is directly related to self-esteem and confidence. Can't have self-esteem and confidence if you don't trust yourself, right? So we're going to be talking, they're very intrinsically linked. It's like a web, right? Like it's very intricately connected. So next week when we talk about self-trust, we're going to be talking about confidence and self-esteem, because you can't have one without the other. How can you have confidence and self-esteem if you don't trust yourself? So join my group. Tara says, I have a book addiction. I don't know. Do you mean that like facetiously? Are you meaning that legitimately? Like, do you mean like shelf help? Like you're addicted to shelf help? Because you just want to just like read. I get that, because my nervous system gets overloaded and overstimulated with information, and I have to go into like blackout periods where I'm not consuming and where I'm move into creative mode. So it's the same thing, ebb and flow and ebb and flow. So maybe you're too much in the ebb, the receiving, but we need to output, we need to flow as well. So is that what you mean by having a book addiction? I think there's nothing inherently wrong with loving to read, but just remember that we have to make sure that we're ebbing and flowing. So reading is receiving, it's ebb, right? It's the feminine, and then we need to also be outflowing. So here's a great idea for you, Tara. This is for you, and whoever else said me too. I do the same thing, Nicole. If you have a book addiction and you're addicted to the inflow, to the reading, a great way to balance that or to work with that energy is what I'm doing currently with my best friend. This said book that I'm talking about, I'm not going to talk about give you the title yet, because I'll talk about it later. It's just too big a nut to crack right now. But my best friend Rena and I are doing a mini book club between the two of us. So that's the outflow. So the inflow is we read a chapter each, and the outflow is we share. And here's how we do our book club. We don't actually have a live conversation. You totally could. It could be one person, two people. This is a great time. Start a book club. Use my book, Celebrating the Too Much Woman. No, I'm kidding. Use any book. But here's what you do. Here's what we do. We use WhatsApp and we both read a chapter. And then the next day, what we do is we leave each other like back and forth voice messages, recordings of what really resonated with us. And the reason we do that, I'm going to tell you the reason we do that. It's brilliant for us. Is because when you're in conversation, oftentimes you feel like you have to like toggle back and forth. Like you're talking about one person's thing and then you feel like you have to respond to that. I don't know. We just find that we can both reflect, say what we really need to say, and then the other person comments and then they shift into themselves. So that's what we do. So if you have a book addiction, my resolution for that is have a little mini book club. Inflow, outflow, ebb and flow. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions? Yes, I'm mindful of receiving too much information at a time. Yeah, there is such thing as overload because your nervous system's like, right? It doesn't, so you need to release some of that energy and you do that with outflow. So another thing you could do is teach. That's why I teach. The teacher teaches what they have to learn, right? That's my outflow. So I read, I assimilate, and then I either write, I talk about it, I teach it, I coach it, I write content around it. That's my outflow. This is so perfect for me today. I've been in major resistance, says Sheila, the past few days. I need to find a new way forward. Thanks, Gina. Perfect. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful for you too, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being here. I'm eternally grateful. Inspiration's a circle. So I come back here because I need to be held accountable to you. And thank you for understanding. When I ebb, I tap out. And when I flow, I come back on. Go join my groups. Have a beautiful weekend. I hope that I will see you on Monday. I'm going to post, I'll probably share tomorrow or Sunday what time we're going to do our little group thingy. I don't know what to call it. Maybe you guys can come up with a name. Self-trust challenge just seems like, I want to come up with something else. Anyways, let me know what you think. And I hope to see you Monday. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye, guys.